The hidden joys people don't talk about after 60. You'll be surprised by number 3. Did you know that life after 60 is not about slowing down, but rather about stepping into a new kind of freedom? It's a kind of liberation that many people don't fully understand until they're living it. For decades, you may have carried the weight of responsibilities, work, children, family, expectations. But now, for the first time in a long time, the focus shifts. Now is the time to rediscover yourself, to take control of your own narrative. And believe it or not, that kind of independence can lead to some of the most joyful, deeply fulfilling years of your life. Before we dive in, tell me, where are you watching from today? Whether you're in a cozy flat in Yorkshire or walking your dog on the Devon coast, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And if you find value in these conversations, please consider subscribing for more uplifting, story-driven content tailored for those of us navigating the golden years with grace and curiosity. Let's begin with a truth that might be hard-earned, but liberating. When you reach 60, you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. That might sound small, but it's revolutionary. The pressures to meet deadlines, impress your boss, maintain appearances, or tick off some invisible checklist begin to melt away. What you're left with is something rare and beautiful. Space. Space to listen to yourself. Space to make decisions based on your own desires, not someone else's expectations. This shift in focus, from outward achievement to inward contentment, mirrors one of the most important themes from the AA Big Book, the idea of living honestly. Honesty, in this sense, isn't just about telling the truth to others. It's about telling the truth to yourself. What do you enjoy? What no longer serves you? What have you always wanted to try, but never given yourself permission to do? Many people find that embracing this kind of personal truth in their 60s is like throwing open a window in a stuffy room. It's not just about discovering new hobbies or finally taking that trip to Scotland's Highlands you always dreamed of. It's about redefining what it means to live well. One viewer told me she began taking piano lessons at 68. "I always thought I was too old," she said, "but now I realize age has nothing to do with it. I just needed the courage to start." That courage often begins with self-honesty, a powerful tool for transformation. Then comes something even more surprising: solitude. It's easy to confuse being alone with being lonely, but solitude is not the enemy. In fact, solitude can be a sacred thing, a place where your thoughts become clearer, your values sharper, your spirit stronger. Many who walk the path of recovery speak of solitude as a gift. In the stillness, you start to hear the voice within. Not the voice of doubt or regret, but the one that's been quietly urging you toward healing, creativity, and self-acceptance. That's joy number 1, the clarity that comes from solitude. It doesn't arrive overnight, but once it does, it changes everything. As you begin to live more independently, something unexpected happens. Your relationships begin to transform without the neediness or codependency that often defined earlier chapters of life. You start to connect with others on a more genuine level. You listen more. You judge less. You value presence over performance. This too is echoed in the AA Big Book. The principle of humility. Not the hang your head kind of humility, but the kind that recognizes that we're all on this journey together, that no one is above or below, that service and love often emerge from recognizing our shared humanity. When we let go of ego, we create room for deeper connection. That might mean rekindling old friendships or simply smiling at strangers during your morning walk. It might mean saying, "I forgive you," or "I forgive myself." One woman shared with me that she reconnected with her estranged sister after 25 years. "I didn't need to win anymore," she said. "I just wanted peace." Peace is another hidden joy of independence. It doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from no longer needing them, from embracing the messiness of life with grace and humor. And make no mistake, humor is essential. If you can laugh at yourself, you're halfway there. Now let's talk about the joy that surprises most people. Number 3. And it's this: finding purpose through service. Yes, you read that right. In a culture that tells us retirement is about slowing down, the truth is many people find renewed purpose by giving back. The AA Big Book teaches that service is one of the greatest tools for spiritual growth. And after 60, you're in the perfect position to serve. It doesn't need to be dramatic. You don't have to start a charity or run a marathon. Sometimes service looks like listening, like reading to children at the library, or walking dogs at the shelter, or visiting a neighbor who's struggling, or simply picking up the phone when someone calls. Your story, your wisdom, your laughter, they matter. They're needed. And the joy that comes from being useful, it's unmatched. One man I spoke with, now 74, volunteers at a local school once a week. The kids think I'm ancient, he jokes, but they love my stories, and I love that someone's still listening. Another viewer, 62 and recently retired, began teaching basic cooking skills at a community center. I spent my whole life cooking for my family, she said. Now I get to pass that on, and it feels incredible. So many elders feel invisible, but when you serve, you become visible in the most beautiful way, as a source of hope. Another joy many discover after 60 is freedom from perfectionism. Let's be honest, perfection is exhausting, and it's a myth. The older we get, the easier it becomes to laugh at our imperfections, to say, "Oh well," instead of "what if." This lightness, this letting go, it's joyful. It's the spiritual principle of acceptance in action. You start to realize that life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful, that sometimes burnt toast and a quiet morning is better than a 5-star brunch, that sometimes forgetting someone's name isn't a failure. It's a reminder to be gentle with yourself. There's a quote in the Big Book that says, "We are not saints." The point is, we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. That willingness, after 60, is everything. It's what allows you to grow into joy, not just by chasing happiness, but by embodying peace. And let's not forget the joy of creativity. Retirement doesn't have to mean sitting still. It can mean starting a blog, or joining a choir, or, finally, writing that book. One gentleman I met began wood carving at 65. Another woman started writing poems in the margins of her garden journal. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that you give yourself permission to create. Because in creating, we find our voice. We leave a legacy. We tell the world, "I was here. I mattered." And then, there's the joy of self-acceptance, perhaps the rarest of all. It's the moment you look in the mirror and say, "I like who I am." Not in a loud, boastful way, but in a quiet, grounded way. A way that says, "I've lived, I've loved, I've learned, and I'm still learning." That's what independence after 60 really means. It's not about doing everything on your own. It's about choosing the life you want and letting go of what no longer fits. So, if you're watching this and wondering whether the best is behind you, let me gently say, it isn't. The hidden joys of independence after 60 are waiting for you. In honesty, in humility, in service, in creativity, in peace. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to rush. You're already enough, just as you are. If this video resonated with you, please like it and consider subscribing to our channel. Share this with someone who might need a little encouragement today. And don't forget to tell us in the comments. Where are you watching from? And what joy have you discovered in this chapter of your life? Until next time, take care of yourself. And remember, independence isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of the most authentic chapter yet.